Hey! How you doing? I went to Costco today, which, yeah, I know. A place I absolutely can't stand. Um, Bought some unsalted mixed nuts and a couple packages of those towels I really like, which I use for cleaning the car and everything in the house. And they had some shorts on sale for $10. Yeah, looked really nice. They were kind of short shorts, and kind of held them up to myself, the size that I thought would be appropriate, and the size 34. Yeah, so I bought two of them, $10 a piece. I got home, and I had to double check, like that size 34. I was swimming in them. They were so big. It's like, I should have bought like size. I haven't really, other than like walking 2 or 3 miles every day, and I don't want to eat anything anymore. ALA, I think, has done that, but I just don't want to. I just don't. I had a half a burger today and a tiny salad, and I wasn't even really hungry today. I don't ever want to talk about food, but everybody keeps asking me about this. It's like, how are you doing it? It's like, I don't want to eat anything anymore. I got a really powerful will. And wherever I direct it, I can make things happen. And that's good and bad. There is a slight downside to that. Has to be used appropriately. But yeah, size 34 was too big. Just, after my wife died, I lost a lot of weight, and I got down to a size 28. And then I'd reached the bottom. And I know I still need to lose. I'm like at 189 pounds, but I still need to lose basically 20 more pounds. 170 pounds for somebody that's 5'10". I have a really large upper frame. Even when I was super skinny at like 128 pounds, I had this, barrel-sized chest. It's German Scandinavian genetics, I believe. By the way, I have a link below. A lot of you asked me to make it, and I did make it. It's the Codex on Evil. It's not the Codex of Evil, it's the Codex on Evil. Specifically, it's the REGNUM male INFERNI, which is the dominion of Hades, and, the description there of the dominion of Hades and of what evil is. I hope you appreciate that. I went over it like 5 times I always miss a punctuation because my mind is always thinking 10 steps ahead of what I'm doing, and that forces me to go back and correct tiny little grammatical errors. I don't feel bad about that, since the philosopher that I respect the most, Plotinus, his disciple Porphyry, said that his punctuation and his misspellings were absolutely off the hook. That was Plotinus' disciple, Porphyry. We were talking a night or two ago in live stream about curses, and I talked about having done 3 of them. People that had horribly, horribly done me wrong. I'm never going to ever tell anybody in a video how to do it. It's really bad, and it could come back on you. One of them was a person, and she called me yesterday, was an ex-girlfriend. I haven't even seen her in like 13 years. The treatment that she did to me was just absolutely off the hook and horrible. One of the last things I ever said to her is, I said, why are you so mean? I said, have I ever said anything bad about you or raised my voice? No. I was like, why do you treat me that way? Anyway, it's a long story. I've always been a good person to other people. This person called me. I shouldn't have picked up the number. Called me yesterday and just telling me how sorry they were about how horribly they treated me. She just started crying and crying and crying. I haven't talked to this person in years. And I said, don't be upset. I've noticed, and I noticed before I get into discussing this article, this really should be called one of those don't watch this video. If you notice that people have become completely unhinged, I mean, I saw this coming like 2, 3 years off, and I know it'd get worse as things start to get tighter and tighter, and the squeeze, gets tighter and tighter on people financially and otherwise, and it's really tight on me financially as well. I could never have afforded this vacation that I took. It just, people are, it's like I don't know if you avoided most people before, and I don't care about intelligence as long as somebody has a kind heart. I never cared about that. But the people of the stuff that I see out there is just absolutely so unbelievable. I just like to hear from you on that, because it's even gotten worse faster than I anticipated. Even some people that I've known basically my entire life. One guy checked on something of mine today, and he wrote me this text. It was just so completely unhinged. I called the guy. I was like, I can't believe you said that. That's just so off the wall. It's just so irrational. And I just think people that don't have a seed in wisdom, which most people don't, they find themselves in a place that many people today are finding, in shifting sands, as it were, and they've lost their cool, for lack of, general nomenclature that people are familiar with. I mean, they popped their cork, they've lost their cool, they've become unhinged. The brakes have come off on the wheels of the school bus. And it's not frightening. Nothing surprises me. It's just, I realize this at my core, but, just acknowledge how disconnected people are from, as I've said before, society is the thinnest crust over top of the largest volcano imaginable. Before I get into this, and please download it's only 2 pages long. It's the Codex on Evil, not of Evil. That a lot of you requested me to do. It's in the description with a pinned comment, also too in the comment section. I was showing people, and they found it fascinating, because I've been translating ancient Pali now. The oldest texts in ancient India are the pillar and rock edicts of King Ashok, and they're written in Prakrit, specifically Brahmi Prakrit. It's the same thing as regular Pali Prakrit, essentially. The stuff I've been translating for 24 years. I'm just going to show you 2 words here. Show you how simple the language is. Like the words, like in English we have to have 5 letters. Dhamma, which is natural order, or Prakriti, and Buddha. Everybody's familiar with the word Buddha. And they're just 2 characters on both these words. The top 2 are 2 characters. Interestingly enough, in this ancient language, the D is essentially the same as the current English D, believe it or not. This is the word the Buddha. This is Bu and De. So just 2 characters. And over here, the word for natural order, or Dhamma, is Dhamma. Yeah, there is a little dot up here, which is an accentuation. Instead of De, it's Da, Ma, or Prakriti. And these are the words we actually find in the Pillar Edicts of King Ashok, which date to the middle of the 4th century BC, basically 2,500 years ago. It's a simple, ancient, archaic language that I've been translating. The original texts found then in the Kayas are written in Pali. I translated from Romanized Pali, which basically the accepted standard. I used to be a member of the Polytext Society, and probably still am a member of the Polytext Society. I love ancient language. I love getting to the heart and the core of things. Before getting into this, I'd like to read a few passages from this and let you download it. Like I said, it's only 2 pages. I keep telling people this, and I find that people can't make the connect in their brains at how simple natural order is, the interconnectivity of absolutely everything. There's such thing as physics versus metaphysics. They're one thing. It's like a flip side of a coin. It's all about the silver of the coinage. A magnet technically doesn't have polarity. Evil is not an autonomous entity. It doesn't have a crown or a throne. It has no sovereignty of its own. We could say, oh, that's evil. Talk about evil deeds or entities that cherish evil. Some of these beings that we would call evil or demons have never been embodied. There's 2 different types of matter, and I talk about this in the 2-page article, Two Sources of Focus Upon Evil and What It Is. Let me read some passages if that's okay with you. Despair, anger, lust, fear, hatred, desire, projective identity, emotions, like a moth to a light, evil draws its sustenance from these and leeches power from the fractured souls of fools in the world to maintain itself. Evil has no primacy and has always been this way since before time beginning. Like a catfish that feeds off food falling into the dark waters below, evil feeds off spiritual agitation, which brings power to these privative entities, dwelling outside the grace of the good or the one. You could say agathon. If you want to use the word God, I don't care. I don't care about belief systems. I'm not connected to any of that, of course. Rather, true logical, rational metaphysics, and I never care about what I think. A true metaphysician is a true seeker. True seeker is about seeking the truth regardless of what anybody thinks, including your own dispositions and feelings and opinions, which should always be set aside as a truth seeker. Outside of the grace of the one, but never separate from same, because, I'll get into that in a second, agitation of the soul is attractive to evil beings, just as a flailing, injured animal attracts prey. Evil is the light bringer, which is the old saying, Lucifer is the light bringer, but people don't understand what that actually means. However, that which conjures and brings forth the light is matter, is not the very light of the good or the one. Matter is the idol of evil. There is no light in that which is illuminated. This is the cubic idol of evil itself. All that brings forth a thing is not the thing itself. Fools, demons, and evil beings confuse the mirage of that which is conjured with the source, i.e. the good or the one. As such, they embrace evil and are shunned by the wise and the pure. The fall outwards or the fall inwards, at the center of evil there is no evil, just as at the center of gravity there is no gravity. At the center of a magnetic field there is no magnetism. All that has not of itself as its center is a phantasm, is false, and a mirage of ultimate truth, i.e. the good or the one. Power expressed is always the impotency of the good or the one, of rest, eternal. Force impresses fools, but it never impresses the wise. The daemon of evil is this is important. Even Plotinus didn't get this. I bested him on the nature of evil. The daemon of evil is sacrifice, submission, belief, and to obey. Guiding a being to destruction upon which evil feeds upon same in the bottomless pit of privation to the good or the one. This is the idol of submission by which evil tames and destroys the fools of the world. Sacrificing self to the idols of evil, the good or the one, its perfection in the realm never partakes of belief, obedience, submission, or sacrifice especially. Evil raises idols of force and power and commands, submit, obey, belief, and sacrifice. This, of course, is the tabernacle of evil, and its vicars are the leeches of destruction, are, of course, verily so evil. Evil is the shadow of the good or the one by which the light of wisdom shrinks from same, for evil does not exist but by power of the good or the one. Evil has no sovereignty in this universe. Against natural order, beauty, truth, and wisdom, here we call evil. Submission and obedience are its very idols. The very soul being light, the lesser soul takes up that which is illuminated, i.e. matter. The very lesser self may either be immaterial or immaterial, such that the soul, just as in dreams, may form its own matters of mind. In darkness, the lesser soul idolizes, the lesser dark is cast by matter, and in so identifying with same and worshipping it, partakes of evil and even loses same. All objects are idols, and evil is idolatry in its most pure distillation. All idols are false gods, and evil relishes in their creation, and of that there is absolutely no doubt. The most foul, black, and rank of waters that would bring instant death, having been consumed, is nevertheless still water itself. Evil, once again, has no autonomous existence of its own, despite the fact that you think it does, and despite the fact that religions say that that is the case. Nor is evil the inverse of the good or the one. The good or the one is not existence, that is the realm of evil. Evil is the profane legion of the dung heap that does not exist outside of the grace of the one. For what exists is not transcendent, the one or the good. Light does not make matter, rather illumination, powerful illumination, makes matter, and this very same matter blocks the light of the good or the one. The only pure and true, the one, does not exist, by true definition of the term exist, such that it is transcendent. What does exist does not have any sovereignty outside of the one, or independent of the one, as the case obviously is. Absence is neither a contrary nor an opposite. Polarity is not an opposite to rest, to foundation, or of the one. Rather, the privation is same, whose domain is the chasm of space. Evil's chasm and realm is disorder, fear, despair, desire, and all the others that follow in line with that. This, rightly so, is Hades. What is most evil, most primary to evil, is all that which is most distant from the one of the good. Lastly, this is the abode of matter, either earthly or mentation. There's two different types of matter. There's the constructs of mind, and that involves either an embodied being or a disembodied being. And then, of course, there's a demonstrable matter. And I also, too, go into discussing, the origin of this matter. And, of course, all high capacitance light is matter, and all matter of any variety is compounded hydrogen. The simplicity of nature is absolutely awe-inspiring and divine. We were brought up with countless beliefs, but belief, of course, is the enemy of the truth seeker, and it's certainly so the enemy of wisdom. Even though we can point to countless things as evil, which, is impure, is against natural order, it is no autonomous existence of itself. Neither does a puppet, have any animation outside of the hand and the puppet or the hand pulling the strings. It is not an entity itself. But in so being enlivened, just as the radio is ensouled by the signal, we can say that, yes, this is evil or this is a demon. But the center of which, there is not that. But that's splitting hairs, but the devil, as they say, is in the details. But I hope you like this two-page paper I created on the nature, because a lot of you asked for it. I just want a true, rational, logical, undeniable, airtight metaphysics as to the nature of Malam. And as the subtitle of the article is Regnum Male Inferni. I wish people could actually have a glimpse as to the simplicity of natural order, because it's so divine, it's so simple, and the interconnectivity of everything is so stunning. There is nothing in nature, as academicians say, we got this over here, and we got that over there. It's impossible for nature to exist that way. I mean, that's not my opinion, it's a fact. It's just absolutely 100% undeniable that it could be another way. The complexity and the convoluted nonsense, this is what Nikola Tesla said, by those who could think deeply but not clearly. And he was extremely accurate on that. Academicians come up with radical absurdities as to natural order that cannot be the true picture of nature. Nature can't exist in such a laughable, irrational, heretical, nonsensical explanation. It's just utterly impossible. Same is true of evil, the same is true of the absolute, and the same is true of the principle of manifestation. And this principle, called prohodos, which means going forth, is the understanding between the principle or the attribute. This is no different than having true understanding of the nature of light and illumination, and understanding what privation is. Because privation is not a thing, it's an absence of something. We may point to it, we may think it's real, but it has no ultimate reality. It has no absolute power, but it will manifest force, and foolish people confuse force with power. And of course, true power is always rest. People think this is power. Like, whoa, that's impressive. Kind of like a mushroom cloud, huh? Well, true power is this. Well, there's nothing there. What are you pointing to? You must be nuts. And you're pointing at nothing. Nothing is never to be confused with not a thing. Understanding of evil is complex, but it's so simple. It's awe-inspiringly simple, just as is everything else in cosmic mechanics, as it necessitatively must be so. It can't exist another way. I hope you like this article. If you do, any donation is very kindly welcome. Everything I write is for free. I work hard on the same. I listen to you, and I sacrifice quite a bit of time in making things. He said, well, it's only 2 pages long. Well, writing something out and working on something that's very airtight and pithy are 2 different things. Those 2 pages are basically equal to 30, 40 pages of just, like a story. Jack and Jill going up the hill and, going in the woods and meeting the wicked witch. That's free flow writing. Oh, I got a spark of creativity. Boom, 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 boom. I can type pretty fast. But stuff like this cannot be written fast. Even if it comes naturally and freely to my mind, it still has to be gone over and over again, and the wording precise as to not cause confusion. And that type of metaphysical, technical writing is very time consuming. And of that there is no doubt. I hope you liked the article. Oh, by the way, my buddy had an art display up in New York. This is his booklet. He sold a lot of artwork. And of course I talked about apophatism. His name is Nicolas Frizolon. He sent me a little booklet of his artwork. And I got a picture of him here in the back. I'd like to show it to you. You can check out his page on Instagram, Nicolas Frizolon. Here we go. He's actually quite popular, and he sold a lot of his artwork. And here we go. I love this one the best. But anyway, the name of his art show is called Disobjectification, which is apophatism, theurgy via negativa. That's what he named his art show. Nice guy up in Brooklyn, New York. I've talked to him a couple times, and he's quite a skilled artist. Yeah, definitely quite a skilled artist. His works are quite amazing. Check out his Instagram page. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you like the articles that I write, any donation is always warmly welcome, or even just a thank you. I hope you like it, and once again, the link is below. Lux Veritas. Thank you. Stay sharp.